You can be highly educated, have a ton of life experience, have a ton of wisdom, and still make poor life decisions. Why? Because true intelligence isn't just academic, it's also emotional and intuitive as well. Hi, I'm Dr. Jo Messenger. Thanks for tuning in. In this video, let's cover the 3 types of intelligence that you need to succeed in your life, your relationships, and in your health, and what happens when one is missing. You can be highly intelligent, highly educated, highly successful on paper, and still make terrible life decisions. We see it all the time. People with degrees, people with status, people who look like they've made it, making choices that destroy their health, destroy their relationships, destroy their minds, destroy their finances, reputation, spiritual ranking, and even their destiny. So what's going on? They're missing a type of intelligence. There's 3 types of intelligence that you need to be able to function well in your life, and you don't just need one kind, you need all 3. You need academic intelligence, you need emotional intelligence, and you need spiritual intelligence, your intuition. Academic intelligence is what most people are trained in. It's your ability to read, to write, to calculate, to think logically, and to be able to analyze information. You need this to be able to function in the world. You need this to be able to function in the world so that you don't get fooled into bad contracts, so your money doesn't get mishandled, so that you can make structured, rational decisions. But here's the problem. Academic intelligence alone is not enough. Emotional intelligence is your ability to read people, to understand behavior, to regulate your emotions, to set boundaries and to maintain them, and to respond instead of react. Without emotional intelligence, you can be academically brilliant and still get manipulated, still get love bombed, stay in toxic relationships that you should have left a long time ago, become difficult to work with, become hard to like, or even develop arrogance and entitlement. Because without emotional intelligence, you don't understand people. Because without emotional intelligence, you not only don't understand people, you probably don't even understand yourself. Spiritual intelligence, your intuition, is the one that most people ignore. Spiritual intelligence is your intuition, your internal guidance system, your quiet knowing, the feeling that something is right or not right before you can logically explain it. And this is where many people go wrong. What happens when you ignore your intuition? I remember attending a seminar by Dr. Jacob Lieberman in Melbourne years ago, and it was a large audience, and he asked everyone who'd been divorced to stand up, and then those who'd been divorced twice to stay standing. And then 3 times. He asked everyone who'd been divorced 3 times to stay standing. And then he asked one question. Did you know it wasn't right before you got married? And every single person said yes, every single one of them. They knew, but they ignored it and got married anyway. So let this sink in for a minute. This was an audience of educated professional people, doctors, dentists, ophthalmologists, chiropractors, personal development educators and leaders. This was an audience of educated professional people with the financial ability to attend and experience a 2-day seminar in a nice city hotel. They weren't lacking intelligence. They weren't lacking opportunities or influence in their day-to-day life. And they were still overriding their intuition. And if you're honest, you've probably done this too. I know I have. Every wrong turn that I've made in my life was when I allowed someone else to ambush me, to pressure me, to badger, pressure, shame, or to shame me into overriding what I knew to be right, what my standards were, and what my choices would have been instead. Why do you need all three intelligences? Academic intelligence helps you understand systems. Emotional intelligence helps you understand people. And spiritual intelligence helps you to understand truth. And if one is missing, your decisions become unbalanced. You might know the facts, but misread the person. You might understand the person, but ignore the warning signs, ignore the red flags. You might feel something is off, but override it with logic or pressure. And that's where the problem begins. When intuition is consistently ignored, people can fall into addiction, destructive relationships, poor decisions, patterns, not necessarily because they're bad or stupid, but because they've disconnected from their internal guidance system, because they've disconnected from their own higher self. And there's many stories and interpretations about the fall of Atlantis. Some suggest it was a civilization that advanced intellectually but lost balance in ethics, intuition, alignment and respect, especially between the genders. And whether you take that as literal history or a symbolic teaching, the message is clear. When intelligence is not balanced with wisdom, collapse follows. It's even been said that the beings who were behind the illegal usurping of the female intuition and spiritual gifts in Atlantis and ancient Mu are currently incarnate. It's been said that these beings are currently incarnate and were given every opportunity to make amends for their previous theft of gifts and power. They've repeatedly been given positions of power and responsibility and the opportunity to use them wisely, fairly, and justly in this lifetime. Unfortunately, no surprise, many of them not only misuse their power again, unfortunately, many of them also abuse the females in their communities. So they piled it on rather than resolved or atoned for anything. Some of them also tried to frame the females that they were abusing, stealing from, and intentionally causing harm to. So layer upon layer upon layer of misuse of power, mistakes, and misrepresentation. But don't waste your time and energy getting angry with these people. They want you to get angry so that they can feed off your emotional energy, just like parasites feed off sugar. These people will not be able to move forward now from their crossroads until they admit responsibility for what they've done. And for many of them that they're still trying to do. For instance, the gang stalkers and the pitchfork mob who've been trying to shut me up for year after year after year and bring me down for decades are now doubling down on my daughter instead. Idiots! dumb and dumber for sure. They will not be able to move forward from their crossroads until they admit responsibility for what they've done and are still trying to do, and also return everything that they have stolen from the females in their community. And if they still refuse to confess and atone, they'll be publicly stripped of everything that they have built on their ill-gotten gains, on their stolen energy, on their stolen gifts, on their puffed-up glamour. The same as the Weinsteins, the Epsteins, the Colemans, the Diddys, the Spectors, the Harrises, and the Ruth people, and whoever else is under their umbrella. What's the real lesson? You don't need to choose between logic, emotion, and intuition. You need to integrate them. You need to think clearly, feel accurately, and also listen deeply. Academic intelligence will get you opportunities, and emotional intelligence will help you navigate people. But it's your intuition that will protect your life. So the next time you feel the quiet knowing, the next time you feel your soul screaming, don't override it. Don't explain it away. Don't let someone talk you out of it. Don't be a pick-me, a yielder, a clout chaser, a sheep, a follower, or an approval seeker. Don't be a stand back and let's see what happens, let somebody else fix things person. Because that voice has been right more times than maybe you've noticed or admitted. And learning to trust it even in the face of intense opposition, will change everything.